learning session. Today, we are going to discuss about systems design fundamentals. How many of you know what is this systems design? So if you are looking for job changes, especially at a higher level, then you will definitely have some kind of systems design interview. How deep an interviewer will go in this particular round depends on your experience. So the more experience you have, it will be more deeper. How many of you have heard about this term called high-level design and low-level design? High-level design generally means the architecture or the high-level picture of your design, and low-level design is mostly near to a code level. And this is mostly around that high-level design, but I encourage you to do a bit of low-level design and even coding along with this as per your programming language. I will give some assignments and all in between, which are optional ones. At least some of them are optional, especially when it is related to coding. If you are a developer, then you can pick them up and do it in your programming language of choice. And if you are not a developer, do not worry. You have a lot of other assignments which doesn't need any kind of coding. Today, we are not going to do any systems design. That is why this session is called as Systems Design Fundamentals 101 rather than Systems Design 101. Before actually doing systems design, you need to understand a lot of things. First of all, you need to understand a lot of core concepts from networking side, from storage side, from database side, from security side, and then a lot of other things also. Once you have all this knowledge, then you can start designing systems. So in this multi-session series, we will be discussing mostly about those fundamentals. And we may not be going deeper into many of these fundamentals because there will be further sessions based on your requests for all of these topics or most of these topics. So eventually, we will be having sessions for almost all of these topics, 101 sessions, but the priority will be based on what you request for. Also, there are no shortage of materials that are available freely over the internet. But one challenge that most of the engineers face is what materials to look at or what topics to study. And my goal with this 101 Systems Design Fundamentals series would be to make sure you know what are those things without going much deeper into it. And we will definitely have 101 sessions going deeper into each of those topics. One more thing before we start. As I mentioned, this will direct you towards what you should be learning. And only with your effort, you can really master all of these things. And once you are good with these fundamentals, then we can go into phase 2, not part 2, where we'll be actually doing systems design practices. But that is not now. That will be later after you go through all the parts of systems design fundamentals 101 and confirm that you have actually gone through the materials and understood and is ready to do the actual design. So what we'll be learning in this multi-part series? Part 1 will be the very fundamental concepts, example, protocols, client server model, networking concepts, database essentials, etc., etc. Basically, part 1 will be fundamental concepts. Part 2 will be characteristics of systems. So this will be availability, scalability, etc., etc. A system will have various characteristics, right? And part 3 will be concepts that influence these characteristics. For example, replication, redundancy, etc. can affect your availability, right? Those who are doing any cloud-related courses or those who are working with cloud will be knowing about the concepts of availability zones, regions, and replication across availability zones and regions, etc. Right? Part 4 will be components of systems such as load balancers, caching, and other useful tools. So once you have all these things, once you have the fundamental knowledge, once you know about the characteristics that you should be looking at while designing or architecting systems. Once you know about the concepts that influence these characteristics, and finally, once you know about the components of systems, as well as some other useful tools that can help you design systems, then you will be ready to do actual systems design. Whether it is an interview or whether it is actual work, all these can definitely help you in designing good, scalable systems.